Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining today's webinar on why Provance ITSM is better than case management. My name is Derek Renton. I'll be moderating today's webinar. With me on the call is Brian Field, one of our senior consultants, who's going to be our subject matter expert on ITSM, as well as give you a glimpse of some of the features that extend ITSM past some of the normal capabilities of case management. So a couple of housekeeping notes just before we get started. This session is being recorded, so if you have others from your organization that had planned to attend and weren't able to, just reach out to us. We'll provide you with a link and they can view that on demand. Secondly, if you do have questions, please submit them through the questions panel on the GoToWebinar screen, and we'll address them at the end of the session today. So with that, we'll get started. So I always like to start with a quick introduction of Provance and the ServiceTeam family of products. So for those of you that are familiar with Provance or heard of us through the Microsoft ecosystem, we're a Canadian ISV that specializes in IT service management and IT asset management. And for the last 6 years or so, we've been providing ITSM and ITAM built natively in Dynamics 365. And now with ServiceTeam, we've built a native Power Apps application. So we're taking what we've learned in the Dynamics platform and re-envisioning and re-engineering on the Power Platform with ServiceTeam as a Power App. It's designed to bring a fresh, agent-focused, high-performance service management capability to Microsoft-centric customers, which for us means any organization that runs their business largely on Microsoft technology, things like BizApps, Office 365, Azure, and so on. But it's also Microsoft partners and service providers who run their business around Microsoft products and want our ability to plug into that ecosystem or into the technology, as it has a number of benefits for their customers. All right, so let's get right into this, Brian. Case management is a term we hear quite often used interchangeably with ITSM, but from a support perspective, they mean two very different things.
Yeah, that's right. We add from a general, over and above the general case management, are the ITSM and ITIL-based disciplines, things that are specifically built for service request management, things that are built specifically for problem management, change management, and all of the components that we're talking about in that particular area, which adds that extra level of detail, if you will, on that case doesn't give to you. So there's a value add simply from that perspective. We're looking at also things like a full service catalog, full request catalog, where you're not only managing, let's say you're an MSP, you're not only managing the list of services that you have and what that entails, but what CIs that are in your CMDB or your assets that are in your CMDB are used to deliver services. Those particular services. What requests can customers submit with respect to those services? We have concepts that we'll have a chance to talk about here a little bit to help that overall process. So there's all of those components that are supported by other ITIL disciplines like the service catalog, which helps an MSP be effective in running their business, or even internal service desks as well, who want that ITIL slant to what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. All right, perfect. Yeah. So that is, that's a good summary of what the differences would be and what we add in terms of ITSM. Another thing that we do is sometimes how well your IT department can run can make or break the profitability of your company. So that's why we designed ServiceTeam with known processes, with features and functionality that can save you time and money. These features either don't exist in an average case management solution or they're available on a limited basis. Can you describe some of those things?
Yeah, sure. So one thing there that you're displaying that certainly is in case management out of the box is SLA. Now, we add, and I'm going to show you some of these things here as well, Derek, if at the end of this bit of a discussion, but we add a lot of levels to service level agreement management. So we treat it more as an agreement than just simply a number of entitlements that you can subscribe to or buy, a number of calls or tickets per period or number of hours per period, something like that. There are other elements to that where you might have subscriptions to multiple services. Those services you might subscribe to different service level objectives. They're called service plans, things of that nature. So we're really more, we're focused on different ways to represent that agreement, the actual contract, and then what that contract entails. Now, there's some other things as well to help organizations run their service desk. Things like ticket templates and question templates, or they often go hand in hand, where we want to streamline the addition of tickets, so agents don't have to worry about entering things like the categorization or even setting an urgency and the impact on very common and standard requests that might be submitted. We're also not going to burden the end user for providing that information. We're just simply going to ask them the questions that they need, that we need the answers to, in order to be able to effectively fulfill the request. And then there's automation concepts as well, where we have something called automation templates, and for some things that are more sophisticated, automation streams, where you can build out processes that support a very complicated and complex onboarding process, let's say, with a mix of manual tasks that might be done by different elements of the enterprise, or automated tasks where we're going to set up user accounts and access to folders, or adding them to security groups, to all potentially based upon aspects of that new hire's job position or the expected role that they're going to perform for the group. So lots of different ways that we help to try to make life easier from both perspectives. So if it's okay with you, Derek, I'll go ahead and we'll share, and I'll do a quick overview of some of the items here that we've talked about.
Yeah, that would be great. And just one point too, I wanted to stress on the automation and some of the other features that we show here. The beauty of the Power Platform and developing something like this in Power Apps is the fact that everything here is codeless. So automation streams, for example, you could easily configure complex workflows, involve many activities, and use a combination of manual tasks and automation calls. All of this is done without having to code. So this is all very straightforward, and what you're going to show us is something that a typical ITSM admin could do without having coding skills or relying on developers to do this.
Yeah. Now, in the case of automation streams, in fairness, oftentimes we'll be calling a PowerShell script or excuse me, or something like that. So there will be elements where you have to have or an Azure runbook where you have to do something that's very specific to you. But in the big picture, though, when you're configuring those automation streams, that is not code based, right? That's all configuration. You set them up, you set those up to call your scripts, right, that you would build. So let's go ahead and let me show you here in just a few minutes some of the capabilities within the application that we've already talked about. Some of the things like where we have dashboarding, which is going to come in a little bit later, but that's what you're looking at here. But let's go ahead and just simply look at some of the different ticket elements. And I'm going to bring up one that I looked at a little bit earlier today, just to make the demonstration a little bit easier. So here is a very basic ticket form. Now, this ticket form is meant to give the agent an opportunity to make a decision on whether this ticket should become and follow your incident process or your service request process, or maybe even your problem management process, where now I can relate multiple incidents to a problem and be able to capture root cause and workarounds and things of that nature. Very specific to that ITIL problem management discipline. So in this case, we're looking at, this looks to be an incident, and then we're going to support this through different categorizations, where I'm having a little trouble with Teams, for example, so I need help with software, and I'm getting some sort of an error. We have the urgency and the impact that will ultimately use to be determined the priority. So things of that nature. I can see when comments have come in from the self-service portal. We'll take a look at that in a little bit as well. All of those things are coming into play here, where we're now applying that SLA or the service level objectives more specifically as part of the ticket. I can manage this now, being able to easily assign. So there are commonalities between case and what we're doing here. Of course, we're taking advantage of the platform as well, but here we're using a control to indicate, okay, this is now assigned. Now I want to indicate that it's in progress. So all of this was put together very specifically to make life as easy as possible for the agents to process these items. Let's take a look at SLAs very specifically and show and highlight some of the differences here. If I go and look at the Tyrell service level agreement, again, think of this as a contract, not where it's 1 hour to respond and 4 hours to resolve. That's an element of the service level agreement. So here, now you can represent this in many different ways. So high level, if your customer subscribes to a service plan, like Silver customer, when tickets come in, every ticket will be associated to the Silver customer service plan, and I'll show you that here in a minute. Or maybe they subscribe to multiple services. So in the case of Tyrell, in this example, what we want to represent is the fact that, okay, great, they've subscribed to 2 services that we offer. However, now, depending upon the service that you select on the ticket, a different service plan or SLO set will be applied. So there's lots of flexibility there. If you have an entitlement based, which is somewhat similar to what was in case, we can do that as well, where it's number of tickets per month or number of hours per month or per period more generically. So lots of different ways you can represent that contractual relationship and then how they're applied to the tickets. So if we take once again a very quick look here at the service plan, now is where I get into defining exactly what my agreements, my objectives are. I can set prioritization. You can change this at any time. Look, this is a no-code solution where if I want to change, the fact that an urgent 1 and a impact of 4, I want that to become a 2 priority tomorrow, and it's a 3 now. Not a problem. I just go in here to this matrix and manage that easily. I can set things like my service hours for my service desk, when I'm open, when we're closed, based upon holiday schedules that we observe. All of that is used then to exclude those hours when you're not open for business from the calculations. And then finally, I'll show you an example of what's called a ticket service profile. But this is really what people get and people want to look at is for the 4 different priorities. Now, here are my objectives in terms of hours when I need to respond or resolve, depending upon the nature of the priority that was assigned and the nature of the ticket. So quite flexible and a little bit more detail, a little bit more focused, particularly for those who are supporting external customers and may have different ways that you sell and to your customers and what they're able to subscribe to.
Yeah, I can see this being really useful for supporting external customers, and everybody has a different contract, and you want to be able to upsell them and cross sell them and stuff. So yeah, absolutely, this would come in
Yeah,
handy.
yeah, and you bring up a good point too. All of this information is available on the account. So we do reference and relate to the account records from, so as somebody like yourself, you'd be able to go and see the tickets they have, what service plan or what the agreement is, what service plans they've subscribed to, all from one single pane of glass.
Yep, definitely. So another thing we've done is we've designed ServiceTeam to put relevant information in the hands of end users to make them more efficient and reduce the overhead cost of those resources. And whether they're your service agents or, as you said, account managers or customers. Can you talk a bit about how we do that?
Yeah, sure. And we're really gonna focus on the self-service portal here as part of this discussion. But we're going to look at this from a couple of different perspectives. One, from a perspective of the end user, where they have the opportunity to interact through a self-service portal, using things like the question set that I mentioned as part of the ticket template. Now they won't see that necessarily, right? But they will be a beneficiary of being able to easily and very easily submit requests for things that they need. I'm going to give you an example of requesting a VM and using a concept of a conditional question. So depending upon an answer, we're going to send you down a different path to the item. Then, with respect to things like Power BI or approvals or dashboards, and more generally, now we're going to look at that from an agent or a manager perspective, and the different things that we can do and different components of the platform that we can take advantage of, or that we do take advantage of, over and above the Power Platform or Dynamics, and to be able to extend some functionality. So why don't I go ahead and share my screen one more time here, Derek, and we'll take a look at the self-service portal, give you a little bit of an overview, and then walk you through an example of a ticket submission that an end user would see, and then how that manifests itself as a ticket automatically, and then how we can automatically use Microsoft approvals to send a Teams activity, so that in my case, an individual can make a decision on with respect to approving or rejecting that request. So here you're looking at the self-service portal, and we expose some functionality here that can be beneficial not only to the end user, but also from a case deflection or a call deflection perspective. So things like the announcements, where I can now easily show very cleanly and with the visual indicators that, hey, there's something going on, and we know about it, and here's our plan going forward. And then kind of the subliminal messages, oh, by the way, you don't need to contact us, we've got it, we're working it, right? So you now reduce the overhead of those calls coming in. Or things that are coming in advance. Hey, we're going to do some scheduled maintenance later this week. We're going to do these things, and we might be down for a little while during that scheduled maintenance. So information provisioning, call deflection, those sorts of things here available through the self-service portal. And I can simply create a ticket, which tends to be the break fix sort of items. I need help with something sort of thing. But what I want to show you here is the catalog. So very simple concept here, and very easy to manage, by the way. This is all data. So if I wanted to add another category, very easily done, add a new record, associate the requests I want to it. Next time we would refresh the portal, we'd have a whole new area that's exposed to the end user. So I can look at my different areas, very traditional, IT support. I need a new computer, those sorts of things. I want to start an onboarding process. I can do that here as well. I can save my requests that I'm working on as a draft as well. So maybe I get halfway through something and I realize I don't have all of the answers to the questions that I need. No problem. I'll save it, come back to it later. So that's almost like a shopping cart experience, that sort of thing. I put it out there before I submit my order, right? But I want to show you one where we're going to use conditional questions. So there are going to be multiple questions that we want to prompt the end user for answers to when they want to request a new VM. So let's say I want to do something like, a development for a new application, just kind of something generic, right? This is what I want my server to be named going forward. So I click next. Great, we got that. Now, is this a standard configuration? Yes or no? Now, I'm going to say, yes, this is standard. Now, just this first time through. So the next thing it's going to prompt me for is the date needed, right? Let's say I thought, oh, no, wait, I need something, that's non-standard here. And I want to say no. So I go ahead and continue with that and enter my special instructions. I need connectivity to app X, something like that, and move forward, and then answer the when do I need it question, later this month. It's fine, and submit that. So a great way to be able to take the end user down a different path depending upon answers that they've previously submitted. So now if I go over and let's go and change the perspective to one of the service desk agent or manager. And again, I mentioned we had a dashboard, which you saw a little bit earlier, and it has a series of visual cues to help bring attention to things like a flag, which shows when you've received a contact, maybe an email came in against that, or a portal comment or something, or a VIP end user, or maybe it's a hot account. You're having a little trouble from a customer service perspective with Ewing Oil, and you want to make sure that the agents pay particular attention to that. And then things like the priority, the numbers are fine, but the icon pops. So now, I see a red one. So that's, clearly that's a priority one. Now, if I look at the Power BI report that we have, and we do deliver this out of the box, and you may configure this in any way that you'd like, but now we're going to show things that typically a manager would look at. What's happening today? How many tickets are coming in? What are the nature of the ticket? Do I have a recurring problem? Is there something I need to do? Or maybe I want to look at generally at the service desk workload. So everything that I currently have, and I want to look at by attributes like the priority or the categorization or the status reason. And I see now that, I have 34 of them that are awaiting assignment. Well, that seems a little unusual. Why do I have that many number that are sitting there? And it looks like it's sitting in the service desk queue or team. Well, I need to start working on exactly what we're doing there and try to figure out what's going on. Or maybe I want to look at it from an SLO perspective. We looked at the service plan and the objectives, and now how am I doing in terms of my ability or my performance in terms of meeting my resolution targets. So let's go ahead and have a quick look at the ticket that we submitted. And that would have been this one here. And you can see, even I've answered a series of questions, but now I have a fully populated ticket. End user didn't have to provide anything. The agent didn't have to provide anything. We do that through this ticket template concept that I mentioned. So it gives you that ability to preset all of these items. I can see now that this one is also pending approval. And you might note that now I have an approval sitting here waiting. So if I look here, on the approvals tab, I can see that in my case, this is a one-step approval. You can have parallel approval process. You can have sequential approval process. You can have multiple participants in each one of those areas. So you can get quite sophisticated if you need to do so. This is very simple. One user, B field, go figure this one out, Brian, and get back to me. So what we've done is automatically we've sent in this case, a Teams activity with that approval, where we send all of the information from the ticket itself, who did it, what company they're with, what's the nature of the request, what are the details. Now I can make my decision. So I can just simply say approved as expected, as requested, let's see, and I add that here. So, these are some of the things like this are some of the things that we've added in addition to the ITIL processes and maybe the expanded service level agreement concepts and ticket templates, question templates. Those are all over and above what you might see in the case management all by itself out of the box with Dynamics. Now I can see, close that loop. Now I can see that this has been approved, and we would see the accounting of that as well. So Derek, I'll turn it back over to you for the next part of the presentation.
Very nice. Thank you very much, Brian. So there's one last reason I wanted to talk about just before we wrap things up, and the fact that Provance has been a Microsoft ISV for 10 plus years. We know how important it is to streamline operations and stay competitive while keeping your customers more than satisfied. What are some of the ways, Brian, that we can accomplish this with ServiceTeam?
Yeah, right. So there's things that we have here that I haven't demonstrated or talked about to date here. But one is this: we have this what's called a Provance Services platform. It's part of the product. You get that. And what we've done is created connectors or integrations with very commonly used applications, things like Azure Active Directory, where we want to bring in contacts, the people that we're supporting, or Azure Intune, because we want to use it to populate our CMDB with the items that we're supporting, or perhaps a little bit further down the road as part of an ITAM implementation and project. So there are other integrations as well with coming in the Enterprise Edition. Things like the DevOps integration, Jira. We can integrate with SolarWinds and Azure Monitor, those sorts of things that we're bringing in. And then, of course, we can leverage the entire platform as well. Through, if you need something with Power Automate Flow that we don't comprehend out of the box, not a problem. You have access to all of the other Microsoft connectors that may be available out there as well, to be able to, let's say, integrate with finance and accounting because you want to do time entries and things like that. We have all of those elements set up. So now it's, all right, how do you want to use some of that data that you're capturing related to your tickets? And how can we take advantage of the platform to make that better?
Perfect. Okay, that's great. All right, we're going to wrap things up here. We have a couple of questions that have come in. First one is how is ServiceTeam licensed? Always an important consideration. So we've tried to keep this as simple as possible. ServiceTeam is licensed by the support agent. So any of you resolvers that are working in Power Apps or in Dynamics on the tickets would require a Provance ServiceTeam license. It's a minimum of 10 licenses, and then you can just add to it from there. Reach out to us at info@provance.com. We'd love to talk about your specific needs and give you pricing on that. Since it is built on Power Apps, all of the people using Provance ServiceTeam would require a Power Apps license as well, either a per app or per user license. So that's something that needs to be done as well. Another question has come in: are all the features included in all editions? Great question. So ServiceTeam we built as a grow as you go model. And actually, I've got a slide here. I'll just flip to, there we go. So Essentials is our base version. It's designed for real simplicity, really targeted towards managed service providers. So they're just providing support around service requests and incident management. So it's a basic version, and you can layer on top of that. So ServiceTeam Professional was released about in October of 2021. So that is available now. And that layers on top of Essentials and provides things like problem management, service level agreement enhancements, change notices. So, design more around taking customers to that next level of support. Early in 2022, we'll be releasing an enterprise version of the product, and that's going to include things like change management. There's going to be an option there for IT asset management. We're going to have more gateways available out of the box for things like event management and Azure DevOps integration. So a real 360-degree service tool built on Power Apps. So we do have this chart available on our website. So I encourage you to visit us at Provance.com, and you can look at that and see what the different features are in each edition, which one works for you. So just to wrap up, we do have some really good blog posts from subject matter experts. We've got some recorded webcasts. We've got announcements about upcoming sessions that we have all on our website, Provance.com. Of course, follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook for product announcements, for blog posts and stuff like that as well. In AppSource, Microsoft AppSource, you can do a trial of Provance ServiceTeam. So it says here, test drive coming soon. Soon is now. That's available, and you can go there and request that. So just in closing, Brian, really appreciate your insight into this and the overview you've given us in terms of ServiceTeam. Thank you for everybody that attended. Reach out to us at info@provance.com for more information. We'd love to engage with you and talk more about your requirements and how we can help you out. So thanks again, everybody. Have a great day. We look forward to having you on our next session.